guys, so today we will be showing you how to make a watercolor kit from Cora's Colors. So in this bag it has everything you need to make your watercolor except for a surface to do it on, such as a old picture frame with liquid glass or a countertop, just something that you don't mind getting a little messy. So this kit has everything you need for it, and this is the watercolor binder. It's what you use to actually mix with the pigment to make the watercolor. Then you also have the watercolor pans. So this is when you're done with your watercolor, you put them in there to dry and make your actual watercolor paints. And then also I give you a business card just because, so my email's on there. If you have any problems, let me know. Then I give you this white plastic card, which you can use as a scraping tool. And then I give you a pink spatula to mix the watercolor with. Now these are the bags of pigment. I give you the 3 primary colors: red, yellow, and blue, and all of them have the same amount in them. And today I'll be showing you how to use the blue. So now you take your blue pigment, and this is the blue. There's about a ½ tablespoon in each of these pigment baggies. And I'm just gonna take my spatula here and scoop out about 3-ish scoops. They don't have to be perfect, it just solely depends on how much you want. But 3-ish scoops will make about how much you need to fill the whole watercolor pan. And now I'm going to use the spatula scraping tool just to bring it down, because I realized I put it too high for the camera. So I'm just bringing it down. And then we can actually start making the watercolor. So here's the watercolor binder, and all I'm going to do is take a spatula and put a little hole in the center just so the binder doesn't just roll off onto the glass sheet, and just put some watercolor binder into the little hole. You do not need much at all. In fact, you really didn't need that much, but here in a second you'll see that once you mix it around, you'll get this kind of consistency, and you can use that tool to scrape the mess up. But you need a thicker consistency like this, but not too thick, because then your watercolor won't set the right way. But then right here, I just take my scraping tool just to make sure all of it is scraped up properly, and I can get the most watercolor that I can out of what was given to me. So here in a second, I just use my spatula to scrape off the scraping tools just to make sure everything works out great. And then this is about the time where you need to get your watercolor pans, which are also provided. And right here they are. And all you do is take your spatula and just literally just drop it into the watercolor pan. Then once you put all of the watercolor into the pan, you just can tap it down like this, just because if you see here, there's some air bubbles. And if you tap it down, it'll release those air bubbles and make your watercolor product smoother finish. So you just tap it down a few times and release those air bubbles, which I didn't do it all the way on camera just because it's really hard to show it. And I leave that for about 24 to 48 hours. Then when it's dried, it'll shrink down some, and it will be hardened, and you can't press down into it anymore. And then you just take a little bit of water and mix it around with the watercolor. Now I suggest that you put watercolor on it and let it sit for a few minutes, and then you can go back in and paint with it. And then I'm just going to swatch it for you here in a second. So here I'm putting in my paper. This is just cardstock, just for the video. but most of the time I use watercolor paper, which is what I suggest for people to use, which I actually sell. And I'm just watering down the paint so you can see the versatility of how it changes when it gets watered down. Now you can use watercolor over inks, certain markers, really whatever that's not water soluble. And there's that pretty blue. And I'm just going to add, you can also lay the watercolors, so I'm just going to layer it by adding some more watercolor on top. And there you go. Now you have your beautiful watercolors, and that pan should last you a really long time. So thank you for watching and have fun with your watercolors. So yeah, thank you. Bye.